Now, I know everybody's probably watching the news right now, the conflict in Ukraine, the Russian invasion. And while you're watching that, don't get solely focused on one event and forget everything else that's going on around you. There's still the frozen bank accounts of the people who donated to the Freedom Convoy in Canada. That's still going on. You've got the Freedom Convoy here in the United States that's organizing, and in preparation for that, you've got Washington, D.C. putting fences and gates and calling out the National Guard. They're moving trucks into position to be ready for the Freedom Convoy to try to block the convoy's access into D.C. But regardless of what's going on around you, around the world, it's important to watch all that and to stay aware of what's going on. But this is where your focus should always be. Because no matter what's happening, this is your priority. Adding to your preps and continuing to add to the preps no matter what happens. Even if war in Ukraine spreads over into the NATO countries and it turns into a world war, you still need to continue to do this. In fact, it'll be more paramount then than ever before. But I wanted to go over this with you real quick and talk about some of the things that I picked up. This is, I guess, what you would call my payday preps. Now, I got paid yesterday, so I picked up a few things extra, and I wanted to go over that with you. Some of what I picked up: 50 pounds of white rice. I got two 20-pound bags and two 5-pound bags. They were sold out of the 10-pound bags, and they were almost sold out of these. I think they only had about 5 of these left. I grabbed these two. But that 50 pounds of rice is going to go into a Mylar bag in a bucket with an oxygen absorber. And that'll go into my preps. Now, unlike a lot of people, I don't drink alcohol, I don't drink coffee. I do prep a little bit of coffee for certain family members or as a trade item, a barter item, but I don't drink coffee myself. What I do drink a lot of is sweet tea. That's probably my one vice. So to that end, I prep a lot of tea bags. Now these usually get sealed up either in a mason jar in the cabinet so they can be used, and then excess I also seal up in smaller Mylar bags and put in with my preps. So I got a couple of boxes of those. Protein and meats are going to be one of your biggest challenges to prep. The biggest challenge being shelf life. Now, yes, you can freeze it, you can can it if you have a pressure canner and you're into that kind of thing, or you can buy it in cans. And right here, I bought some more cans of chunk chicken breast. This is a 2-pack for $3.98, I believe it was. I got 2 of those. And for variety, you know, you can get Spam or Treat or the store brand version of those. You can get Vienna sausages, you can get potted meat, things like that. But something I've never seen mentioned is that you can get roast beef and pulled pork in cans like this as well. You can get the larger cans of ham, which I have some of those in my preps as well. But one thing I've never seen anyone show that they bought was barbecue. And yeah, this is more a more expensive way to buy barbecue, but it's in a can as opposed to plastic packages like the little tubs that you get at the store. This is beef and barbecue sauce and pork and barbecue sauce. Now, again, these are fairly expensive, so I don't buy a ton of these, but I do add a couple in every now and then, just to give some variety to my canned meat selection. I don't want to be in a situation where all I have to eat is chunk chicken breast or Vienna sausages. I mean, that's going to get old really, really quick. So the more variety you have, the better off you're going to be. And again, bear in mind that everything that you store should be stuff that you will eat. Don't be buying cans of stuff that you're not going to eat, that you don't like, unless you plan on bartering that with somebody. So always store the stuff that you like to eat. And to that end, rotate it. Don't just stack it up and forget about it. Rotate through that selection. Every time you buy something new, put it on the front. Whenever you use some, pull it from the back and just rotate your stock that way. That way it's always being refreshed. Something else I added to my preps, I've got some baked beans, I've got some sauerkraut here. I'm adding to my canned vegetables, as always. Now I can grow my own vegetables, I can freeze them, I can can them, I can dehydrate them, that's all well and good. But things like that usually take a lot of water to cook them if they're dehydrated or if they're frozen. If you grow beans and you seal them up in jars dry or seal them up in Mylar bags dry, it takes a lot of water to cook that. One trick to speed that up, actually there's two tricks. You can soak the dry beans in water overnight in the refrigerator, and it'll speed up the cooking time of them. So it's a little preparation, takes a little advanced preparation, but it will speed up the cooking time and reduce the amount of water that you need to cook. Another option that would really speed up the cooking time that I've never heard anybody suggest, not to say they haven't, but I just haven't heard it talked about, is I'm not talking about the pressure canner or the water bath canner that you would use to can mason jars, but they have these little pressure cookers that operate on the same function that have the same weight on top. You can take dry beans, dump in there, and it'll cook those beans under pressure in a fraction of the time that it would take to just dump them in an open pot and just boil them and boil them and boil them until they're done. You'll save a tremendous amount of water and time by using a little pressure cooker. So consider looking into getting one of those. But canned vegetables, they're cheap, they're easy to stack, and that's one more thing that you can avoid putting in your mason jars. You need to save your mason jars for higher value items. Now, yeah, you can can beans, there's nothing wrong with that. You can make sauerkraut in jars, there's nothing wrong with that either. But for the bulk of your jars, you need to try to save for higher value food items, canned meats, highly nutritious, high in protein soups, stews, and you can make your own jellies in some of the smaller jars so that you're not going to the store and buying these other these commercial jars that only last about 6 months. So there's that. We're big pasta eaters around here, so I picked up some mac and cheese. Now this stuff is only good for about a year, so this is something I add into my preps, but it's something I rotate heavily through my preps. I buy them, put them in my preps, and when we eat them pretty regular, it's not the best food, I'll admit, but we eat it pretty regular, so I will pull the oldest out of my stock and eat that. Another thing I buy a lot of, instant potatoes. Now, generally what I'll do with these, because instant potatoes are typically put in a box, no bag, so bugs and insects can get into them if you're not careful. So what I'll do is I'll take this and I'll empty it into like a 1 gallon Mylar bag and drop an oxygen absorber in that and stick it in a tote, in one of those Rubbermaid totes. So that's usually how I prep these. Again, I've seen people use, excuse me, I've seen people pour them into mason jars and put them in their cabinets. That's all well and good. That works fine if you want to do that. But again, I try to save my jars for higher value items or for things that I can't get at the store that I grow or produce here myself. Another thing that I don't see a lot of people talking about, I have seen a few talk about it, spices and seasonings. I've got, at Walmart they have a bin with a whole bunch of different seasonings and spices for like $1 each. So I picked up a bunch of those. That's only a few of them. I picked up a whole bunch of those. But not only just these, but the sauce or seasoning packets, you know, things like the 1-sheet Parmesan chicken, 1-sheet pan bourbon pork, things like that. I'm always buying these, and I have a bin that I put these in. We use those a lot, and it just gives something to add variety, gives you more flexibility in fixing things, and it's not that expensive. It doesn't take up a lot of space. You can pack a lot of them away. Along that same line, you might want to consider buying and storing and stocking salad dressings and bottle marinades and things like that. Now, they don't last a real long time, so again, rotate your stock. You can build up a lot of it if you're constantly rotating and using your preps. And finally, sugar. I bought a 25-pound bag of sugar. This was $12 at Walmart. They only had 2 of these, so I grabbed one. In hindsight, I probably should have grabbed the other, but I'm trying to keep a low profile when I go into the store, so I don't want to buy 100 pounds of rice, 50 pounds of sugar, and 150 cans of assorted meats and veggies. Because people are going to start looking at that and think, okay, what are you doing? What's going on? It attracts a lot of attention. So, and trust me, you go into Walmart and you pick up a 25-pound bag of sugar, if there's anybody on that aisle, they're going to take a second look at you, regardless. Because people don't generally buy these. That's why Walmart usually only has a few on hand. Most people are going for the 4 or the 2-pound, the 4-pound, or the 10-pound bags. You don't often see people grab one of these. Now, you grab 2, that's really going to catch some attention. So just bear that in mind as inflation gets worse, food prices get higher and higher and higher, and there's more and more shortages. If you buy these things, try to be discreet about it. You don't want to load up 3 buggies and be pulling all 3 buggies through the store loaded down with stuff like this. That would be quite a chore in itself anyway. But people will take notice, and they will watch you closely. So in the spirit of being gray man, I try to buy, I might go to the store 2 or 3 times this week and buy the same thing, but I'll buy it in smaller amounts each time. So if I want, for example, if I want to get 75 pounds of sugar, I'll go to that store 3 separate times, or go to 3 separate stores to get that 1 bag each, rather than getting them all 3 at the same place. Yeah, it's more time, it's more gas money driving around to different stores or back and forth to the store, but it draws less attention than walking out with a buggy full of 25-pound bags of sugar or 50 pounds of rice at a time. So that's generally how I do that. Also, and I don't have it up here, but I also bought a case of dog food for my dog. My dog that stayed outside a lot, she passed away last year, but we still have my mom's little Chihuahua, so I'm prepping for her as well. So I bought a case of that food as well. I'm slowly building that up, so don't forget your pets. If you have pets, be buying it a little along, because price on that is going up as well. Anyway, I just wanted to go over this real quick before I start putting it away. before I start sealing it up today. This is just some of the stuff that I got this payday. I'm going to be going out today, and I'm going to be filling up some gas cans to bulk up my fuel reserves. And I'm probably going to be stopping and picking up some ammo. I found a place where I found some on sale, so I'll be going back there. I wasn't in a position where I could actually buy any yesterday. I was running out of time, but yeah, I'll be going back, and hopefully they'll still have some when I get there today. And then I'm also going to the feed store. I'm going to be buying seeds. Now, that's another thing that I wanted to cover. I've seen a lot of people talk about going to Walmart or going to Dollar General or wherever and buying these little bitty packets of seeds for $2 for $1, $4 for $1, or whatever. And you know, that's okay. That works okay. But generally, generally those packets have a very small amount of seed in them, and generally the germination rate on those seeds is very low. However, if you have a feed and seed store or a farm supply store in your area, you'll often find that if you go there, they'll have much larger packs of seeds. They'll be larger, better quality. They'll be a little bit more expensive, but it's going to be larger pack of seeds, and they'll be better quality and better germination rates. They're not going to be by these American Seed Company or whatever it is that the Dollar General and Walmart sell. And you'll have a bigger variety as well, because I can go to, I've got 2 different feed stores here that I like to go to. I can go to those and I can get varieties of corn seed and okra seed, and I can even get seed potatoes that I can't get at Walmart or Lowe's or Home Depot or Dollar General. I can get things at those places that I can't get anywhere else. Yeah, you might pay a little bit more, you might pay a little bit less. It all depends. It's definitely something worth checking out, especially before you start growing things this year. Also, another source for my seeds, and I limit it because they tend to get really expensive. eBay is a good source for some seeds. Again, they tend to get expensive, and quality varies depending on who you're buying from. Another source, and again, they tend to get more expensive, are seed catalogs, like the Seed Savers Exchange, Southern Exposure Seed Savers Exchange, and there's a bunch of other catalogs that you can get where you can order seeds out of. I can't remember the names of them offhand, but seed stores, the old-time feed and seed stores, farm supply stores, they'll often have a lot of variety of seeds, and people don't really even think about those. So check those out, and you might be surprised at some of the stuff that you can find. I can find stuff in my local feed stores I can't find anywhere except specialty catalogs. So there is that. Anyway, that's all I've got for right now. Appreciate you guys watching. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't. I'd really like to get my subscription rate up. I'll have more videos coming to you guys soon. Stay safe, continue to prep, and I'll catch you later.